everyone! Welcome to GameSlean TV for October 10th, 2013. Guys, here we are again. Time for another episode of GameSlean. It's Thursday night. Guys, if you're just joining us, GameSlean TV is a weekly news and review show. Every week we review the latest games and bring you the latest news. So let's get right to it. My name is Chris, and I'm your host. Let's introduce the other host joining us here tonight. We've got, to my right, Steve.
Peace. Corona.
Over at the Magic Card playing table here. We've also got Jeff.
My paladin of Prov that I have summoned as a mighty wizard planeswalker has just kicked thou ass.
You don't even know how to play.
These guys spring this on me. They just came in here and started doing this, so we'll see how this goes. Over on production, we've got Xander, as always.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What is that?
What is
The sound effects that you don't use.
Dumb thing that he just said? I don't know.
There's plenty.
They're playing Magic over here.
Really?
Yeah. Over on co-production, we've got Nick. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to make a stupid face. You know, it's only
Just the way your face is constructed.
2 mana, 1 plains, 1 water.
Mission accomplished.
2 arms.
And of course, joining us remotely via Skype, we've got Tommo.
Yep.
There he is.
Still here. Still in California.
The video looks good for once. All right.
How much mana are you putting
Yeah.
in?
I hit the refresh button a bunch of times.
Yes.
Perfect.
That dog is barking again.
5?
You got pets over?
That's the neighbor's dog. He barks a lot. It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
stupid.
And then he's like,
That happened last
sorry.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
let's get right to it. News of the week.
Remember that?
So,
Yeah.
first news item this week.
Wait, where did this come from?
Let's kick things off. So I think this actual news item, this has been circulating for a while, but there was some talk this week. The next Mass Effect game is going to be using Frostbite. The Battlefield 3 graphics engine, but Frostbite is the EA in-house engine. It's developed by DICE, who does the Battlefield games, and this is gonna impact things going forward. I think the first game we saw, because I think EA, I think I know what's going on here. EA is tired of paying for Unreal license or Unreal Engine licensing for their games when they've got this other engine already in-house that they owned. So they've moved a lot of their titles over to Frostbite. And I think Army of Two was one of the first ones that did this. The first two Army of Two games were on Unreal, and then the recent one was on Frostbite. And you could definitely see like there were similar fonts and similar things in there that looked like Battlefield and stuff. Xander and I played that game. It was really good, but I think it did suffer a little from being on Frostbite. But I mean, I don't know.
How much of an impact is that going to make?
For them, it's a big win in terms of cost, but the engines do look a little bit different.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes. It doesn't really mean
It's
anything
going to
to
be
me.
the next-gen version of it, though, so I don't mind an updated look. And I think the Frostbite engine looks good. I played a little bit of Battlefield, and I guess it's more geared. I've only really seen it in like a military FPS aspect, really. But I think you can do some interesting things with it, like for like a space opera RPG like Mass Effect. But I mean,
Mass Effect is kind of like military-esque as well. So I mean, it's not too far out of reach.
It could definitely fit in. So.
If like for the second one, but I did kind of like the space opera look, so I don't know if it's gonna affect like the way like in that aspect.
Well, it's not like the Frostbite engine specifically for military shooters. It's just what I've seen it used for mostly. But it's what I've seen it in looks good. So I think it could definitely the next gen version of it could definitely benefit from using that engine.
Yeah.
Well, who cares? Let's move on to the next item.
Yeah. GTA Online, of course. If you even tried to play it recently, GTA Online, character creation issues, all kinds of stuff. Now, Steve was going to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to agree with whatever you're going to say because I know what you're going to say. This thing
awesome.
is totally messed up, dude. Like,
yeah,
still haven't played it. Don't want to play it.
All right.
Good time. We could be Grandma 13.
Yeah. I will say, when I first tried to play GTA Online, I was welcomed with the character creator, and instantly I was just kind of like, F this. I'm probably not going to bother with it. The character creation, like the game, the single player game is spot on. I don't understand how they could do so well, constructing that game, and then like the character creator is just retarded. Like instead of just choosing the way that instead of just choosing the way you look, you choose the way your parents, grandparents look. and that affects the way you look. And it's just
it's bad.
it's just messed up. Like, it doesn't work. But I will say, I also, I took all that time to make a character, and then, the game was just free, so I didn't even really get a chance to play the online. But I did get to play a bit today, and a lot of patches have been released. And once you do get past the character creator and you're in the game does run smooth, and it is really fun.
Well, still not going to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the character, once you make, the initial character with the whole, DNA thing, you can edit their hair and stuff, as you saw there. And the online's fun when you can get into it, which I haven't really touched it since,
takes a
last
while,
week.
but it actually runs smooth now.
Yeah, so when I was playing it, though, it was fun. I made some big money on betting on myself on a race, and I got a few thousand there. Then I had to rush to the ATM because I was afraid some jerk was going to shoot me. I was hijacking a store, just robbing it, trying to get some money, and some player just ran past the cops who were outside trying to shoot me. He just runs to the back room where I am and just shoots me with a shotgun and then runs away.
Yeah.
Dude, totally lame. But
that's how it goes. That's what can happen.
Played.
Yeah, need that crew. But the online character, I'm happy with the character I made. He kind of looks like kind of dopey, kind of like me, I guess. That's what I was going for.
Very
nice.
You don't look dopey at all.
Yeah, the character creator, whoever gave the okay for that, I really hope they fall and scrape their knee real hard.
All right. Well, yeah, we got to give a thumbs down. I didn't like the character creator either. My guy ended up looked really uninteresting and really silly. So, whatever. I was excited. Same exact thing. We mentioned it on the show. I was excited for Red Dead, and same kind of thing. Like, you get in there, and we haven't been playing with the GameSlean crew, so that's probably part of the problem. So,
it's definitely there was definitely at one point there were 2 or 3 guys holding out in front of the custom car shop. And they were just shooting everybody, and anytime I tried to attack, it's I'm by myself, and I was just getting swarmed, and they were just on top of me, and they had machine guns and stuff, and I just had a little pistol. I gotta make that mad money so I can buy those upgrades.
And that's brutal. That was in the open area, not the actual
that's the thing.
That you have to join.
It's almost free for all. It's you almost, if you're by yourself, you want to avoid all the other players in the open world because it's just everyone's just capping each other constantly. Which is unfortunate because it's almost just a big free for all death match. There's not really much structure to it, but the actual missions were fun. I did some death match missions, and there was a mission where we had to chase down a car and steal the dude's drugs and get him back to the drop point. So those are fun. Have structure. It's just the open world in between. It's kind of just chaotic, which I guess suits the game, but it can get annoying if you're by yourself.
Right. So GTA Online. Mostly working now, but not really. So
so it's still experiencing a slew of problems. I haven't played it at all. It's still experiencing a slew of problems, or it's being patched up pretty readily.
So there you go. Moving on. Next news item.
That was a question, not a statement.
Yeah, we ignored your question.
What did you say?
No, it runs a lot smoother now after some of the patches.
It does. I didn't
Yeah.
play it that much.
But it just takes forever to freaking load. It's like Mass Effect,
Great.
the elevator effect.
Yeah, elevator Grand Theft Auto
effect.
Yeah.
You always gotta go there. Always have to go there, don't you?
The first one, yeah.
What are you talking
Scavenger
about?
folk.
What
is that?
Not pulling any mana.
All right, let's get to the next news item here. River City Ransom Underground has been funded, guys. We talked about this one or 2 episodes ago.
Right.
So these guys have made their Kickstarter money. They're going to make this thing, and they've also got the guy who actually created Kunio-kun, Renegade, and the original Double Dragons. They've got him on as a consultant now, so that's only going to make this game better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm surprised that he even did it. Did you ever read any of the stuff by that guy?
I read the summary here.
Yeah, I've read some interviews and stuff with that guy. He created those games. Renegade's awesome, Double Dragon's awesome, but then that's all that they would let him make is beat 'em up games. He made a million of them, So he got himself backed into a corner. So I'm surprised that he went back to this because he said that he's felt backed into a corner,
Yeah, I'm surprised they were able to get him as well. Because it doesn't sound like he's made a game in a long time.
Yeah, money talks. Well, he was a consultant on Double Dragon Neon, and that game sucked balls.
Oh, okay.
But I guess they got him back for this. They paid him.
Yeah, I remember hearing you say it. You didn't like Double Dragon Neon a whole lot, right?
I hated it. I thought it was terrible. It was the bro Madden Halo version of the game and like of a Double Dragon game, and it was not good at all. It was really terrible.
That's unfortunate. So yeah, if you guys are looking forward to a new River City Ransom game,
I'm psyched for it. I can't wait.
coming.
Like, I'm so glad like it made it. Like, I think the game looks fantastic. So
it looks cool. I almost
this
think
game looks
they're
good, yeah.
doing too much stuff. Like it's too fancy, like or maybe a little bit too flashy. I
I don't know. It still has that 2D look. It looks like the Scott Pilgrim game I mentioned before, which was inspired by River City Ransom.
Okay.
But I'm okay. I like that graphics engine because it has that retro look, but it's not like. But it still looks new enough where it's like refreshing, I guess. But it has a retro style, but it's not like dated looking. I don't know if you see what I'm like saying.
Yeah.
And the gameplay looks fun. It looks like it gonna have that like RPG brawler like hybrid like the original was, and it looks like there's just more variety between the characters, so a little bit more replay value there.
Well, there's online co-op too, so you can play a bunch of players at once. Like the game looks really cool.
Yeah, I'll be playing it. I mean, I would, that's the type of game I'd rather play with a bunch of people, like gathering around in front of a TV, just because like playing a brawler online, just like from playing Dragon's Crown and stuff, it's fun, but like half of the fun is just playing with other people and just kind of getting rowdy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, is there going to be? Do you have any Halo 3 Mountain Dew left over? That's the only way you can get Chris there.
Chris, do you have any Halo 3 Mountain Dew left?
There's like 2 cans left.
Wow.
Just keeping it.
And that's I thought we went through them all. Like I didn't think there were any left, but I do still have a couple. The Halo 4 Dew was impossible to get around here because I tried to get that. And actually, that was just like caps and stuff. That wasn't. You remember Doritos Gate with Jeff Keighley? Did you see any of that stuff?
Well,
like he just Doritos Pope.
Yeah.
And that was hilarious.
Oh,
all right, yeah. Let's move on, guys. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I won.
Oh,
Okay, great.
Jeff wins at Magic Cards.
Round 1. Fight.
All right, next news item: Tommo versus SNK guys over the NEO GEO X handheld.
Oh, what is this thing?
Pending litigation or soon to be pending
Look at this
litigation.
piece of crap.
It looks awesome.
Xander, what are the details on this thing? It's
Some
emulating
kind of friggin'
piece
emulator. And it doesn't even work. Like, who the hell would even buy this?
I would buy it if it wasn't so expensive.
Wait, so
But-
SNK says what I read. They don't want to. They're not putting it out. They don't want to sell it anymore. But the other company who was making it are just like, no, we're going to keep selling it.
Yeah,
Essentially.
it says here SNK has demanded Tommo to cease manufacturing, marketing, and selling these units of this handheld, and their reply is, no, we're just going to keep selling it and marketing it,
No.
and for whatever,
Well, yeah,
however many units
their
we have
reply
left.
is F you.
Right.
I mean, I look at this like it's probably just a clever marketing tactic to sell a failing system. They're selling a system that failed commercially in the 90s, and then they're selling it now, and it's still failing commercially.
You're saying the Neo Geo failed commercially, or just
In America, not like in America, it definitely did.
Yeah, but
like,
it was huge in Japan.
I love Neo Geo.
It was big in Japan. Neo Geo is awesome.
Yeah,
I am a fan.
I love it, but it didn't sell very well here.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
Too freaking expensive.
yeah. Well, how much was one game for a Neo Geo? It was like,
Well, you
like
had to buy the
200 bucks.
giant ones. They were
50,
like
200, I
$100.
heard.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that was way out of any of our price ranges back then. Forget it. Go to
Even
the
now.
arcade and play it if you're lucky. I don't know.
So what you have to do is you have to wait for Nathan to buy them, and then he gets sick of them and just leaves the arcade machine at your house, which is what Seth and I did.
Yeah, you need a time warp into the year 2010 where Nathan
Yeah.
buys the arcade cabinets and then you have them, right?
Yeah,
Which
and then-
arcade
and then-
cabinets
and
you
then
have
he-
there,
and then-
Tom?
And then he moves in with his girlfriend, and then she says, "I don't like video games," and then he gives them to us.
Well, there you go.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, we did it. We did it.
I don't know, guys. I wouldn't buy this thing just to play Neo Geo games. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
speaking of which.
look, there he is, right there, right in the comments.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, this is you heard it here first. Nathan not allowed to have Neo Geo arcade machines at his house. So he gave them to us.
That's too bad. So yeah, this whatever.
not-
Let these guys fight it out over this thing. Who cares? Like, I'm not interested in it. So, sorry.
Maybe it was worth half a damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's only so many times you can play Metal Slug, I guess.
No way.
Yeah. And even then, I'm playing that on PSP or the Wii or some other system.
Yeah, that's true.
playing the Metal Slug Anthology.
What about Baseball All Stars? I could definitely beat you at that. We gotta play that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Samurai
We'll have
Showdown
try,
all the way.
Try that at some point.
I think if you come out for E3, we gotta play. We gotta play Baseball All Stars.
All right.
All right, good. We gotta film a video of that.
Great. All right, let's round things out. We got one last news item this week, guys. Now, and it was announced this week, Drakengard 3 is coming to the U.S. or
What the heck is that? I don't know what that game
Western territories. Okay, so Drakengard, I actually haven't played the first 2 Drakengard games, but these games were made by Cavia, who also made the cult classic, at this point I think it's safe to say, Nier. And then they were subsequently dissolved because Cavia, they developed Nier and it didn't sell too well. But Nier and the Drakengard games are connected a little bit, and Nier was on my top 5 list. I highly recommend it if you can get your hands on a copy of Nier for either Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. Grab it and play it. It's one of the best games I've ever played. It's amazing. So, anyways, for the first Drakengard games, they did come over here to the U.S., but there were translation issues and there were other things that screwed up the plot. So they are available. But this is, Square Enix has given Cavia, or actually the guy, I think his name is Yoko Taro, they've given him a second chance. They asked him, do you want to do another Drakengard because we'll fund it for you? And he said yes, so they're doing it. Cavia, as they existed before, is no more, but the director is back and he's going to do one more Drakengard game, so we'll have to see how it goes. It looks cool.
Huh? I fell asleep during that part. What are you saying?
That's fine.
Dragon
Like I
Guard-
said, cult classic.
Yeah, it's one of those games. I always see the name, and it's one of those like I should play that because I keep seeing that name pop up, and I just never have. Just maybe one day.
I've heard the name. No idea what the game's about. Guess I'll have to play it.
Yeah. If time allows. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't played the first 2 either, but the third one looks cool. There were no screens in that, or there was actually no gameplay in that trailer with the article, but there are some screens floating around. It looks cool, so I'm on the lookout for it. I don't know. Check it out if you're into these interesting Japanese games. So that's it for the news. Let's move on. We've got a review this week, of course. What's our review game this week, guys? Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond.
Ellen
Starring
Beyond Two
Ellie.
Souls. Yes.
One of the last
Beyond.
And we did our top 5 reasons to ignore and top 5 reasons to go out and play it this week. We did that last week, but now we've had a chance to look and play the real thing. So our top 5 list, some of those reasons were a little bit tongue in cheek, but now we've got our full review here. So let's kick things off with the graphics like we always do.
Hold on one moment, Chris. I actually just located a picture of your avatar from Grand Theft Auto 5. I think I just sent that to Alexander. This is that plain boring guy that you were describing as being as your character in Grand Theft Auto 5. Xander, can you throw that up, please?
Yeah, we'll blow the whole system up.
All right. Well, I located a picture of Chris's character from Grand Theft Auto 5.
All right, stand by. As long as you don't take us down. Well, that's actually me from E3, and you can't see Tom standing next to me because he's cropped himself out. But yeah, no, the GTA character creator, you have no flexibility. There's no, you can set your parents like you guys said, but it's all clunky as all
you
hell.
set your parents' grandparents.
Yeah.
Which I don't get.
That character looks so familiar.
It was a weird approach to the whole thing.
All right, on with the review.
So yeah, let's review this game here. Beyond Two Souls, the newest game from David Cage here. So let's see, graphics. Roll our footage, would you? So.
Oh man.
So back in
it's exciting.
in February at the DICE Summit, David Cage got up there and he did a speech. One of the many things he said though is that if you review a game and you just give a score and say I'm giving this a score and you don't really explain why, then that's not really the way to do things if you're going to review a game. So we're not doing scores for his game. We haven't done scores for the last few games here on GameSlean, but we're going to run down the categories here, and we're going to try and give this game its due. So, graphics. If you've seen the screens or any footage for this game, you played the demo, you know it looks great. During the cutscenes or scripted events, of course, they can push more polygons, and you can see the difference between that and during the standard gameplay. So I'd say during the standard gameplay, the graphics are about on par with Last of Us. Maybe slightly less details when things get busy, but it's pretty close. And again, there's a difference, of course, if there's scripted events or cutscenes, that's when they have the high poly models, and it looks, they're getting really, really close to photorealism with some of this stuff here.
Yeah.
So,
I can't argue with that. The game. I only played the demo. I did beat the demo. It looks great. The game. Just on the subject of graphics alone, the game looks really, really good.
Yeah, you bet.
I think that's what all those games are about, and I think we talked about this on the last episode. It's they do, David Cage just does a great job of giving that cinematic look, and the game looks incredible. Do you guys think it's better than The Last of Us? Like graphically?
It's two different types of game though. I mean, Last of Us Last of Us is a true game. This was just like an interactive
movie.
This was like a spiritual successor to like Dragon's Lair, in that it's just like scripted events and you push a button and something happens.
Yeah.
Last of Us had a lot more going on, so I think it's tough to compare the two. I think in terms of like just interactive environments and like having to like actually do things in the game, I think The Last of Us has better graphics because there's more stuff going on. These are all just like set pieces.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
But it looks good. I mean, for whatever it is, it looks cool.
So I want to say some of the characters, though, some of them do have that uncanny valley effect a little bit. It's especially on the faces, or if they're idle. It's a little bit. It's minor. It's not that big deal, but it is noticeable. And so, aside from that, there's a variety of environments. Everything in the environments are super detailed. There's a little bit of texture pop here and there, nothing major. There's a couple spots where the frame rate chugs, but those are, again, few and far between. All that stuff is super minor, though. It doesn't impact the quality too much. So full marks for the graphics, definitely.
Right. I would say that my only gripe, really, with that is when you switch to Aiden, it has a tendency to kind of like everything gets really like murky. Like when you're going through a wall and everything, it's tough to tell what's going on sometimes.
Oh yeah. And also because the controls for Aiden are a little bit like they're pretty sensitive. You can get like turned around and mixed up pretty easily, I think, too, right?
Yeah, like when I was trying to like do some of the stuff with Aiden, it's real easy to get to go into like the wrong room or like go into like kind of just turn yourself around.
Yeah,
so it ends up becoming very confusing. And like I would say that's using Aiden is kind of like a weak point of the game. Like I know you're supposed to, but like it was kind of frustrating at the same time to use Aiden.
Yeah. I can see that perspective, definitely. One final thing on graphics, the spirits and the entities, because Aiden is a spirit, and we'll get into that later, but there's other spirits and entities in the game. Some of them are enemies, but most of them have really, really good effects on them, and overall everything in the game is animated really, really well. So that's about it for graphics.
It looks great. I mean, this is probably this is the last, if not one of the last big PS3 games, so it looks good.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kick it on over to sound. As far as sound goes, I'll start with the music. Now, if you played Heavy Rain, there's going to be the inevitable comparison between these two because Heavy Rain was the last one they did. Now, the music in Heavy Rain, I think overall was a little bit better than the music that's included here. It fit the tone of the game better, and it was a little bit more memorable. I mean, the music. This game has its moments where the music really, really fits, but Heavy Rain, I think, stands out if you compare the two. So if you played Heavy Rain, I think you'll understand what I'm saying in this game, in this one here, though, and beyond, the music during the action scenes is what stands out. So usually there'll be some intense thing going on, and during those parts of the game, that's where the music in this game really shines and does a super good job driving things home.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the music was really forgettable, though, which was disappointing.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
If David Cage is really going for a cinematic experience, I mean, he can't just focus on the visuals, which I know that he considers himself a storyteller, so he focused on the visuals and the story, but it seems like he neglected one of the most important aspects of cinematic storytelling, which is the music, which is a little disappointing.
Okay, let me ask you. Sorry, Nick. Let me ask you this. Did you play Heavy Rain?
I did not play Heavy Rain.
Okay, because that would be a good. The music in Heavy Rain, I believe they won a few awards for that, and the music in Heavy Rain was very, very well received. And I wasn't going to bring this up for the review because I want to keep things moving along here. But actually, the guy that did the music for Heavy Rain. And I didn't even know this until earlier this week. He actually passed away back in January, and from what I understand,
really?
he was working. He was working on this, and so since he wasn't available anymore, they had to bring in, I think it's Hans Zimmer and his protege Lauren Balfe, and they're credited as doing the music. Now I don't know if the other guy, Norman Corbet if he had any tracks in here, but that's I think, and he worked on David Cage's other games as well, from what I understand. So that's that's a tough one. The guy unfortunately passed away, so.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was Hans Zimmer, I mean, perhaps Hans Zimmer and his protege didn't really consider it. Like, I know that they primarily do scores to film.
Yeah.
But it's like perhaps because this was a video game, they didn't treat it quite as seriously.
I want to say too, most of Zimmer's music, Pirates of the Caribbean is one I know that I like the music from that, but aside from that, I want to say not to insult, but most of Zimmer's music is largely forgettable as well, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in terms of composers, I mean, I know that the most memorable composers I can think of in recent memory would be, Danny Elfman, of course, and also Harry Gregson Wilson, who worked on some of the Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
And I mean, those tracks are extremely memorable.
Definitely. So I think, unfortunately, I think it was an issue of the guy wasn't available because like we said, but. That's why I wanted to mention that Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain really had some standout music and everything in there. The guy nailed it. Like, the guy had done TV scores and I think maybe some smaller films, but he was working. He had everything going on Heavy Rain. The music in Heavy Rain was just perfect for what he was trying to do in terms of the story and gameplay as well. Everything just fit.
Well, I mean, this begs the question. Well, no, well,
yeah, Heavy Rain was awesome.
But this begs the question: was he not available in spirit form?
Oh, jeez, that's awful.
So hey, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no. So continuing on though, the sound effects too. Let's move away from the music now. The sound effects are very good. Everything is high quality. The sound, like the sounds that the other entities make, the sounds are scary as hell. When you're controlling Aiden, as we mentioned before, and you're controlling and doing things as him, I think the sounds during that, there's some weird sound. Those add the appropriate dimension for that as well, I think too.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The sounds are all appropriate for what they are. So I mean, I can't really offer any sort of great praise or criticism. I mean, the sounds are solid and they fit the action as well as they can.
Yeah, right. I feel like for most big titles, I would say this is one of the last big titles. Usually I think sound is pretty spot on and they know what to do. When the title has a budget like this, or if it's at this particular level of quality, then it's pretty much expected, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. So let's touch on the voice acting real quick. Now, the voice acting is great as you would expect because they used real actors. A lot of times, though, I think Ellen Page, who's the lead character here, a lot of times she sounds like she's mumbling, but I'm not sure if that was if that was a direction for her character or not. It's just something I noticed.
It could be a direction from Cage himself. I mean, yeah, I know he considers himself a filmmaker primarily, so I mean that could have been something for the character,
Yeah.
I thought that Willem Dafoe. I first of all, let me put it out there and say I think Willem Dafoe is a fantastic actor.
Right.
And he did a great job with his voice acting.
Sure, yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean her voice acting was solid, but I don't think it was her best performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was solid.
More on that, I think they did. If we're going to talk about the voice acting, I think they did overuse the F word just a little bit, and maybe because all of us were just coming off GTA where the F word was in every sentence, but
right.
I mean, a couple of spots I could see them using it, and I think it was it was justified, but other times, I mean, I think they were just doing it, and it wasn't really needed. So
to make it a mature title or whatever.
Yeah, they do seem to use it a little too often, but it wasn't that big a deal. It's just. So that's it. That's all for sound. Sound is great overall. No complaints. Right. Good job on the sound. Gameplay. Let's move on to gameplay. Arguably the most important category. So I'll sum up a little bit here. So of course you play as Jodie, and you also control Aiden, who is the spirit or entity that's attached to her. Aiden can move objects. He can break stuff, and he can also possess other characters and let you control them. So he can't go too far away from Jodie though, because that'll hurt her. And that's pretty much the entire gameplay of the game. You go through switching between the two of them. You switch to Aiden when he's needed. Or sometimes the game will actually force you to view things from Aiden's perspective, you know, for whatever reason, for narrative or for other purposes. So like right here, she's getting ready to this is like a covert op she's trying to run, so she's got to use Aiden to do some of this stuff without any of the other NPCs noticing. So yeah, you can go. This is what he's doing right here. He's going through the wall. He's going to try and go up to the second floor to go to this safe that they need to get documents out of.
One of the more frustrating aspects of the game is using Aiden.
You can see it as that kind of like murky look around the borders, and it's like the controls change. It gets really sensitive, and it's really
floaty. It's not like hard to use.
It's super floaty.
I mean, it's not that hard to use, I guess, but like,
well, it seems
I found myself struggling with it quite a bit.
It seems like you just have to be like really patient and take your time with it, because otherwise you're like, I think you just mentioned it, Tom. You're just gonna get really confused and you're not gonna know where you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fast-paced game, but I mean, even still, like, I mean, the game, it's too slowly paced, I think. It definitely could have used something to make it more engaging. I mean, I think David Cage relied too heavily on story, and he didn't focus on gameplay mechanics. Like, I mean, he looked at this like an interactive film.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what I was gonna say. If you're gonna make, it's one thing to make like a movie because you can just visualize that, but if you're making a game, you have to go gameplay, graphics, and story. Like you have to have, to me, you have to have all those three elements, and if you don't have one of those, it kind of, to me, weakens it a bit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it definitely. I can see where he's going with this. David Cage wants somebody to let him make a movie. I think that somebody needs to just let him make a movie and stop letting him make video games.
Just get it over with.
Yeah. I mean, the game plays like fine, but it's slow, and some of the controls just don't work. They don't not work, but they don't work either. They're kind of just there to move the story along. Everything is just the push of a button. It's like I said, it's like you're playing a successor to Dragon's Lair. So it's like if you go into this thinking that like, you're going to be playing this game that involves like lots of quick action and like reflexes, things of that nature, you're not. Like you can play the entire game with one hand if you really want to.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to mention, again, comparing it to Heavy Rain and maybe a little bit farther, Fahrenheit or Indigo Prophecy. In this one, they did away with most of the QT prompts. Heavy Rain, for those of you who played it, Heavy Rain was QTE City. So some of them are still in this game, though, but most of the time there's just a white dot that prompts you that you need, telling you need to do something. And then there's the action sequences where there's no prompt at all, but the game kind of goes into slow motion, and then you have to push the right analog stick in the correct direction. It's usually in the direction that Jody is moving, and then that'll prevent you from getting attacked, or that'll help you do the QT correctly. And sometimes it's tricky, but I actually like that better than just the ridiculous crazy prompts flashing all over the place like in Heavy Rain, because it definitely did that at times. And like you mentioned, Tom, the controls are clunky. The other thing I didn't really care for is that a lot of times, or a lot of points in the game railroads you into only going to the areas you're supposed to. So like if you try to wander outside of like the gameplay area that you're supposed to go, Jody will just turn around and go back in the other direction. So there's really no like exploration or like extra stuff to do. You're on a set path in this game, and that's it.
It's extremely linear. I mean, David Cage wrote a story, and he wants you to follow in the direction of that story with very little to no deviation.
And that's it.
That's it. You can't go off the beaten path.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the story then now, because this, again, we've been hinting at this and kind of saying it. Maybe he wants to be a film director, but he's this entire game is primarily story driven. Now you're going to play this game. None of it is in chronological order. It's very disconnected and disjointed. It almost feels like he came up with a bunch of different scenarios, and then he had trouble with the in-between parts, so everything just got kind of mixed up. And I've seen the game being criticized for this, but to be honest, that didn't bother me a whole lot. It's just the game jumps around a lot, and you jump between different ages. Like you jump between Jody at different points of time in her life. Like I said, a lot of people are going to be confused, and it's not going to make 100% sense. But it didn't bother me that much. So the other thing I want to mention, the big reveal at the end. We did touch on this last week when I said, oh, there's going to be some stupid plot twist. This was on our top 5.
Of course.
I want to say that the big reveal at the end is not the typical David Cage twist. In my opinion, it was very well done, and I was surprised. There's multiple endings here, but I like the ending I got. And I want to say, in terms of replay value, there's definitely some here if you want to replay chapters and do things differently. I'd say there's a fair amount of replay value. You can also play this game with 2 people. So what happens when you're playing with 2 players is the second player will control Aiden, and then you can hit the triangle button to switch back and forth. So if you're playing as Jody and you hit it, you give control to the other person, and then it works. Just go back and forth. So I think that's a cool thing that they added in there, so you can play with 2 people.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just to touch on your thing with like the replay value, I think that happens with like Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain, and I think that's kind of what personally draws me to those games is the replay value, because you have so many outcomes, and certain characters die, you can have them live. It's just kind of interesting how it plays out.
Okay,
Well,
sure.
I guess that was Nick's point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from what I played of the game, and like, let me first say that I have not beaten the game, so I cannot offer you the full scope of the entire story.
Okay.
But from what I played, I mean, I've read a lot of things about David Cage and like about how he is basically trying to make interactive film. The story is intriguing. I mean, the story is interesting, that's for sure. It is riddled with a few cliches, but the story overall is interesting. It's an interesting experiment in film and movie and film and video games kind of coming together. So I'm curious to see where he can take it and where other people are going to take the genre in the future.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I was really happy with the way they wrapped things up here with this game. Turned out really good. So let's go to our overall. Let's put up a score here and say what we're gonna recommend on this game. I'm saying buy or must play. This is a game you need to play, and I've said on the show before that I like games that take risks, games that don't follow the norm. Quantic has been using this formula for their last 3 games now, and this one, I'll say, between this Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy, this one is the best one. They really set the bar with this one. They don't release these too often, but when they do, I'm going to say they're definitely worth your time. I want to point out there's been some other reviews on this game that have been a bit low, and to be honest, I don't know what
Majorly low ones.
Unusually low, you say?
I would say that IGN and like Destructoid and other places like that have been giving this game super low scores. And while I will agree with a lot of their points, I will disagree with them in that this game, like they're saying basically don't play this game. I will disagree with you about buying the game, but I will disagree with the major news media outlets saying don't even play the game. And I'll say that the game was interesting enough and it's polished enough. And I mean it's an interesting title. I will say if you can get the game cheap or if you can borrow it or rent it, it's definitely worth your time, but maybe not $60.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're into something like this, it's definitely a buy, but at minimum, it's a must play. So
yeah, sure.
My point before was I don't know what these guys giving it low scores are talking about. That to me is just absolutely crazy. You got to understand this is not a shooting game, guys. It's more about the story and characters. So Ellen Page was the right actress for this role. For this row.
For this row. For this row, yo.
What the hell did I say? Ellen Page was the right actress for this role. And again, Willem Dafoe and the other supporting actors did excellent jobs as well. So yeah, overall, must play.
Must play. I will agree. I will agree with you there. It's an interesting experiment in film and gaming. So I think people need to at least give it a try.
Very good. So there you go, guys. That's Beyond Two Souls. If you got a PS3, check it out. And
if not, then I guess you're out of luck anyway.
Not,
you're probably playing Halo or something.
If not, tough luck.
Yeah. If not, you're playing Magic.
That's the thing. I mean, unless you're, that's kind of what I want to get at. Unless you're one of the COD boys and you got to have a weapon in a game, then okay, then it's not for you. But other people that are what I would call more well-rounded gamers, that definitely check it out.
Hey Chris, the chat room has weighed in, and we have two
okay.
suggestions. We have
All right.
we have two suggestions here from the chat. Robbie709 says this is Juno the game, and he felt
right.
like Michael Cera should have been involved in this. And Sergeant Ski wants to know if you can just spoil the ending so he doesn't have to play the game.
No, I'll say there's enough there. Like he wrote and he put together a good enough end sequence and way that it can play out. Like, sorry, Ski, we can't do that.
Oh man, I'll send
It's
you a
good. No, you
message.
gotta.
When I beat it, I'll send you a message.
Don't do that. Play it. It's worth it.
Or just go on Jesse Cox's YouTube channel, watch him play it.
He's playing it now.
Yeah, so yeah, just do that, and then you can probably go on YouTube right now and just watch a video at the end of the game.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, so that's gonna do it. That's it for this week of GameSlean TV, guys.
Oh yeah,
guys.
Check out Chandler reviews coming soon, exclusively to GameSlean.
Yes.
Yeah,
Announced
dude.
earlier
That's what I'm
today.
talking about.
Finally, yeah, we need to build our YouTube channel up, guys. So check out our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We got all that stuff. We need to get our stuff built up here, guys. So help us out. Let's say anything else? Any other final words? Nick did a review of Deadly Premonition, so check that out.
Yeah, check it out.
Nick's review is awesome. Josh,
We're 1 for 1, by the way, over here.
Yeah.
This is
tied up.
This is the
MTG.
tied up. This is a tiebreaker game right here.
We're gonna have a let's play of MTG.
Possibly. All right. I don't know what we got going on next week, but we'll figure something out. Guys,
We always do.
We always do. Guys, thanks for joining us. Keep playing. We'll see you next time on GameSlean.
Go to GameSlean.tv for more.
Bye.